So what ETY is here the fund invests in a diversified portfolio of domestic and foreign stocks with an emphasis on dividend paying stocks and writes or sells S&P 500 index call options with respect to a portion of the value of its common stock portfolio to generate current cash flow from the options premium received. The fund evaluates returns on an after-tax basis and seeks to minimize and defer federal income taxes incurred by shareholders in connection with their investment in the fund. The fund pays monthly distributions to shareholders pursuant to a managed distribution plan. Hey everybody, hope everybody's doing well. Hope you're ready for the weekend. I am for sure. Today we are looking at a closed-end fund that I just recently purchased myself, and we'll just go over it, talk about it a little bit. I'll talk a little bit about some closed-end fund details. I'm still working on that big long closed-end fund video that I've promised. I've just been really busy lately, so if you're new here, please like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Down in the pinned comment down below is an Amazon link. Use the Amazon link at no cost to you if you shop through that link. Amazon will send me a small commission on qualified purchases. Also down below there is my Teespring link. Check out some cool gear. That would be awesome. Also in the description is my M1 Finance link. So I did receive a referral bonus from somebody that used that link. I truly appreciate it. I will be coming out with a video soon that it will actually share all earnings, and I'm going to be investing all earnings from YouTube and referral links and Amazon and Teespring and all that. I'm going to be assembling a special portfolio on M1 Finance with all those earnings, and I'm going to share that with you because you guys are what's making it happen. So like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and let's get into it. So today we are looking at the Eaton Vance tax managed diversified equity closed-end fund, and the ticker symbol is ETY. And if you ever seen any of my closed-end fund videos, I like CEFconnect.com. That's what this is. And I'll show you just some key stats here. Currently, the share price, if you look here on the left, this has some important information. It has share price, net asset value, and premium to discount, or premium or discount. Now, how a closed-end fund works is it's closed-ended. So it's not an open-ended fund like an ETF or a mutual fund where anybody can just throw some money in, right? With a closed-end fund, there has to be a seller of the shares on the other side, and that's individual or institutional. With an ETF or a mutual fund, they can just create more shares and sell it to you that way. A closed-end fund, limited amount of shares, and the share price is determined by supply and demand between shareholders. Okay. The net asset value is everything that the fund holds in cash and investments. It could be unrealized gains, whatever the value is of all the equity and cash that the fund holds is the net asset value. And the premium to discount, or premium or discount, is the share price divided by the NAV, or is that the NAV divided by the share price? And that gets you either the premium or the discount. So if you look at right now, ETY is trading for, well, at the time of this recording, trading for $10.89. But the net asset value, everything that's in the fund currently, is $12. So that represents a 9.25% discount to what the fund holds. So if the fund were to be totally liquidated tomorrow, you get $12 a share. Does that make sense? So if you look here, it'll show you the 52-week average, the 52-week high, and the 52-week low. I like looking at the 52-week average when I compare the premium to discount, because this is what it would average out over a year. And normally, over the year, this fund trades at a 3% discount. So it consistently trades at a discount to its net asset value. But currently, it's trading for 9.25%. So you get 6%. You're getting a 6% discount from the net asset value than what the 52-week average is, if that makes sense. Now, it is a managed distribution. Now, this is why closed-end funds are popular with retirees, because in a managed distribution, they set every year, they set what they expect. They set the distributions to what they expect the fund to do in the next year. Okay, so that's what, and they stick to that. So if they say, okay, we expect to be able to distribute $1 per year in distributions this year, they'll do that, and then they'll split it up evenly through all 12 months. So you can plan on having the exact same amount of income from the fund all year long, every month. I hope that makes sense. So right now, the distribution rate is 9.29%, and that is works out to 8.43 cents per month. Okay. Now, what I like to look at, if you look at when I was talking about the NAV and share price, you look at the NAV is in the blue and the price is in the black. And I like to look at about a 5-year chart, and I want to see the net asset value either flat over that time period or growing slightly. Okay. With an income fund, it's not completely necessary to grow the net asset value. You at least want to keep it stable. You want to have the stable distribution, but you don't want to lose the net asset value, though. But it's not highly important to grow it, just as long as your income stays steady. Now, if we look at the price is in black, so you can see all these different times where it is disconnected from the blue line were buying opportunities. So right here in mid 2016 was a buying opportunity where it was really disconnected from its net asset value. And again here today, we are really disconnected from the net asset value. So those represent buying opportunities, in my opinion. And then we want to look at fund basics. What I like to look for is if the fund is using leverage. A lot of closed-end funds use leverage. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but this one does not, which is nice because leverage creates volatility, and it's nice not to have volatility in these funds, in my opinion. Now, the thing about this is it is expensive to own. It's a 1.07% expense ratio. But remember, you are getting 9.29% net of expenses. We'll look at the distributions. And back in 08 and 09, 10, 11, they did cut distributions back then. I don't think not very many people survived that recession, and they were no exception. But it looked like at the end of 2012 that they stabilized, and this is not a cut from here to here. This was just a change from quarterly to monthly payments, and they have maintained that 8.43% since that time. So for about at least a little over 7 years now, going on 8 years, they have paid 8.43% every month. Now, I did say it was tax managed, and what that means is a lot of times they will, everybody thinks return of capital is bad when it comes to closed-end funds, but that's not totally true. They have been distributing return of capital, but return of capital just means that the fund did not choose to sell an appreciated asset to, not that's not its only meaning, but one of the reasons is that they did not choose to sell an appreciated asset just to fund the distribution. So for instance, if they're up 30%, 40% on Microsoft, right? But they feel that there's a lot more upside to Microsoft, they will not sell Microsoft just to fund the distribution. They will redistribute cash as a return of capital so that they can hold on to their Microsoft position, or they will sell an undervalued stock, or a stock that they're losing money on, and distribute money that way, but it will be at a loss, but offset by the gains. So all return of capital isn't bad. It just depends on if the net asset value is affected by it or not. So if their net asset value drops over time because of distribution, then that's a bad thing. But if their net asset value stays flat or rises while putting out their distributions, that's a good thing. So, if the fund is generating a 9% distribution, but their investments have gained 20%, then that's a great thing for a fund, right? It's kind of like, how can I put it? It's kind of like managing. It's managing. These people are portfolio managers, so they know what to do. A lot of times us as self-directed investors, we get confused with rebalancing and tax loss harvesting and all that sort of thing. That's why these closed-end funds charge what they charge on their expense ratios. So this is getting a little long, but I wanted to just go through some key stats here. You are looking at a manager that has been managing this thing for 13.76 years. His name is Michael Allison. Total distribution rate is 9.29% as of 9/30, but the distribution rate on the net asset value is 8.43%. The difference between those two is just because you're paying less. You're getting 9.29% distribution on what you paid for the fund. The fund is distributing 8.43% on its total net asset value. It does have a turnover ratio of 57%, so that might be of concern. You might want to hold this in a retirement account, but because it's using return of capital, it's probably better actually to hold in a taxable, because you cannot take the tax advantage of the return of capital in a Roth IRA. It has to be in a taxable. So if we look at the portfolio composition, it's easier to read over here. That's why I'm using it. It has 54 holdings. U.S. stocks at 95.47%, non-U.S. of 4.23%, 95% of country exposure, almost 96% in the United States, 1.5% in Canada and France, and just over 1% in the UK. And the top 10 holdings, we have Microsoft at 7.43%, Amazon at 6.99%, Apple at 6.67%, Verizon at 2.79%, Danaher at 2.7%, Google at 2.6%, Visa at 2.5%, Abbott Labs at 2.4%, Procter & Gamble at 2.3%, and Accenture at 2.3%. Now this is as of July 30th, 2020, because closed-end funds do not have to disclose their holdings daily like an ETF or a mutual fund. Since it's actively managed and it's a closed-end fund, they report their earnings and investment activities quarterly, just like a company would. So that's just another thing to look at. Now their sector exposure, you got 24.5% in tech, 15% in healthcare, 14% in consumer cyclical, 13% in financials, just under 9% in communications, almost 7.5% in consumer defensive, 7% in industrials, just under 3% in utilities, just over 2.5% in basic materials, just under 2.5% in energy, and just a little bit above 2% in real estate. And you have a 63.48% in giant companies, 33.5% in large cap companies, and 3% in mid cap. And Morningstar rates this as a large cap blend fund. So let's look over at its performance. And when I think of ETY, I think of funds, ETFs, popular ones like QILD or JEPI, JEPI, as its closest competitor. JEPI is probably its closest competitor in the ETF space. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at what it did with QILD, because QILD has a longer time frame than JEPI, and let's just see how it did. So if we look here, ETY since December 12, 2013, which is when QILD started, till 9/30 of 2020, the total return for ETY was 88.84% for an average annual return of 9.8%. That's with dividends reinvested, versus QILD and its 59.45% total return and 7.10% average annual total return. So ETY has handily beat QILD. ETY charges about 4 basis points more than QILD in expense ratio. ETY is actively managed versus QILD is more of a passive rules-based approach. So take that for what it's worth. I'd do more research and look at ETY versus QILD if you are really thinking about getting into QILD. I own both personally, so that's another thing to think of. Now, we'll look at it to its closest competitor, what I think is JEPI, and that's JEPI. And we'll chart 10,000 invested. And from May 21st, 2020, when JEPI was introduced, JEPI has a slight lead. So ETY in that time frame, just in the, that's basically 4 months. ETY has a total return 9.24% versus JEPI's total return in that 4 months of 9.35. So what do you think? ETY, JEPI, QILD, which would you choose? I'm a fan of ETY. I bought it, and you will see, I think next Saturday I'll come out with my September dividend income, and I'll show you the moves I made. And I bought in, not super heavy into ETY, but I did put a pretty good position in ETY. So that's all I have today. I hope I didn't lose too many of you. If I did, I apologize, and you're probably not hearing me apologize because I lost you. So leave a comment down below, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Use the Amazon link, Teespring link, M1 Finance referral links, all that. I appreciate every last one of you. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye-bye. I am not a financial advisor. The information contained in this video is for entertainment and informational purposes only. It is not intended to be investment advice. Please seek a licensed professional for any investment, tax, or legal advice. Thank you.